Wait, now. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Weekend Dojo Sunday stream night. Kemen Ryder is not with us to begin with again this week. If he doesn't make it, you'll see something with me and him on Wednesday. So tonight it's just me and JT.
Hey guys, forgive me for being less enthusiastic. It feels like alcoholism has finger blasted my dome piece. This is JT here, getting ready to start with El Chizo here. With that being said, let's commence. I'm still not good at openings. Shit.
Alrighty. So tonight's topic is anime as it's evolved over the years. So I figure we'll let JT and I have each picked a specific genre of anime to cover. So JT, why don't you start?
Well, surprisingly enough, if you look at me, you would think, hey, like you're going to enjoy watching people die in animation. Generally, I'd agree with you, but actually, contrary to popular belief, my favorite genre of anime, and the one that I will be covering most what's the word? Covering, we'll just go with covering very closely. Like I said, alcoholism has finger blasted my dome piece. Will be romantic comedy. That's actually my favorite genre. Yes, I will agree. I will say some of it is the fan service, but for the most part, it's the plot. We Specifically, I'm going to be covering romantic comedy in 2004 versus romantic comedy now. Starting with, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just breathing in.
Oh. Okay. I actually have just a couple of examples of anime ranging from 2002 to 2004 sitting right here. Now, they were really creative with the storylines when it came to the anime between 2000 and 2007. I mean, wicked creativity. You're not going to get very many storylines anymore that are as creative as these ones because the world or the anime community wants to focus on slice of life in school drama when mixing it with romantic comedy, which it's a it's really good as long as it's done right. If I feel like it's completely overused personally, but
Oh, Tone says, "Hey, hey, Tone."
hey Tone, how's it going? I'm sure you'll answer that and he'll read it over the airwaves. That or I will. Um, I need to pick out a particular favorite, but I can't because all of the animes that I have sitting next to me are very near and dear to my heart, except for one, which El Chizo, surprisingly enough, is not Deers. I actually like that one fairly well, even if it's just for the plot. um, well, I'll just give you guys a brief or a short example of what I mean by storylines that are just completely out there by showing you one called Shuffle. Yeah, I bought it on DVD. I'm a tool. um, Shuffle started right. It aired right around 2005 in that time zone. I'm pretty sure it was spring of 2005. What are you laughing at?
Oh, nothing. I'm looking at the comments.
Okay. Ooh, do I need to look at the comments?
You could if it made you happy.
Makes me happy. Ah, shit. Um.
Okay, not sorry to derail, but you were talking about Shuffle while you were searching up the video.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'll read you the back of the case and then give you a more in tune explanation. No, I'm not going. I'll read you the title of the first episode. The man who could become a god or a demon. So it's set in a world where this gate open, or where this, yeah, it's pretty much a gate, opens up the expanse between earth, hell, and heaven, I suppose. They call it the world of gods and the world of devils, but
It's the same thing.
it's the same fucking thing. Chaz cut out the best part. I'm hurt.
From her comment, the previous one.
Ooh, oh, hey, Bay and JT. Oh, come on. You gotta give Fangirl some love.
I love my fangirls. All one of you.
Girl. I don't even have one. Anyway, well, God and the devil, the king of gods and the king of devils, end up neighbors to this kid. No spoilers, and he can choose to marry either one of them. No spoilers
Not
there either.
you mean their daughters.
Yeah, their daughters. I'm sorry. He can choose to marry either one of their daughters and become king of one world or king of another. My personal preference was I'd very much like to become Satan.
You would.
Well, I'm not going to explain the entirety of my thought process, but melons were involved. Versus when I'm watching. Son of a bitch. I'm suddenly regretting picking this topic.
No, it's good. Keep going.
There's surprisingly enough, there's really not that much ecchi in the anime itself. It's really storyline focused, whereas with anime nowadays, what can I compare it to specifically? I'm not even going to try to think. Whereas the recent releases, I'll just go with that. Yeah, they have storyline, but they focus more on the art more than the story. So the story ends up really lacking, whereas the art ends up fantastic. That wouldn't be entirely a bad thing if they would just take their time and smooth out the story. Like I just got done, I know this isn't a romantic comedy or anything, but I just got done watching Chaos Child, and I can't even spoil anything there. I don't know if you guys are going to watch it. Well, I'll just throw it out there. Spoiler alert. The only reason the guy's so powerful is because he brought his imaginary friend to life. That kind of like that kind of made the main character a bitch in my eyes. Not a bitch so much, but I was kind of I'll just leave it at I was kind of disappointed. It's like
Yep.
Chaos Head came out in like 2010 and I was thoroughly impressed. But Chaos Child showed up. I might be wrong on that date, but Chaos Child showed up and I was like, now what the fuck is this? It was good up until you find out that this motherfucker is only powerful because he brought his imaginary friend to life. That he was that broken that he had to rely on an imaginary friend. Oh, I went into a rant and I apologize, guys.
Yep. Oh, Tone says ecchi is an art form in certain shows.
I will agree with that. I will not disagree with you there, Tone. But when you focus completely on the fan service, well, the etchy completely, and there's no storyline, it just becomes porn.
It has to be balanced.
Thank you. There has to. That brought up the whole fucking stigma that people only watch anime for the plot.
And then we got plot.
Yeah, exactly. We got the meme plot. I'm not blaming
Yep.
fan service. Actually, fan service can birth a whole lot of good hentai, but you gotta start watching shit for the plot.
And I've heard some people say that they've seen hentai with better plot than most rom-coms these days.
Yes, okay, I went to go jerk off one time. I started watching hentai, and
Well, there goes our freaking monetization on this video.
is I need to quit drinking. By monetization, it's not like we were really going to use it anyway.
Yep. But okay,
But
so after up to that point,
it got interesting. There was something about picking seeds and like the way you pick the seeds to expel the dark energy was through sex. And I was like, "Oh." Then there was another hentai that was completely based around making an H game. I started like I had my dick in my hand. I was watching it with full expectation to achieve a happy ending, but I got a happy ending in a different way. I need to quit.
oh man, I just hope that
Can we
no
change
one. Yeah, let's
can
change
we change the
topics.
topic from hentai, please?
Yeah,
Because
let's
a
get
lot
back
of
to
the
let's.
stories gonna start like that. I'm going to hit this cigarette, but I'm still gonna talk to you guys.
Yeah, okay, let's switch back over to rom-coms. That
Please,
took a turn.
for the love of God, please. Okay, disembodied voice here.
Actually, we can see you through the window.
Oh,
And there he goes.
anyway, at any rate, you get my point. There's romantic comedy has taken a drastic dip in my opinion from 2000 from the early 2000s. Most of the anime in my collection actually comes from the early 2000s because that's when I feel the storyline was best. Yes, there is fan service in the animes from 2004, but is it heavily capitalized on? No, not unless it is specifically, how to put it, not unless the description of the anime or the synopsis specifically states, "Hey, busty" or something to that effect. These busty babes, blah blah blah. You know,
Yeah. Tone
so
responds with, "This is why he doesn't have fangirls."
she's right, and honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm somehow I got engaged. Is because I go off the rails. I don't have a filter, and I'm okay with this. You're going
Yep.
to know what is on my mind because I'm going to speak what's on my mind. Though
And what
honestly, I
was
am
on your
gonna.
mind was the action
Sorry,
of.
masturbation. Yes. Sorry, I am going to try to clean up my act for YouTube because I don't want to be cussing at my fans or saying shit like that on the air. And I held back for a minute, but as soon as hentai popped off, there it went.
Okay, so Busty.
But you can't just lead in with that word.
I'm sorry, but that's what you left off with. We gotta
Well,
pick.
if the synopsis itself leaves off with like the word or starts off with like these busty babes or these bodacious babes, you can expect a lot of panty shots or cleavage or bathing suits or what have you. Hell, even full frontal nudity. But uh, that was a bad flick. Anyway, you get what I'm going at. Way back when the synopsis would actually give you like or the most you wouldn't see etchy unless it was going to be capitalized on in the anime. Whereas now the synopsis doesn't really mean shit. It's bound to be there. Now, there is a level of capitalization though. Some animes won't have any, some will have too much. We're leaning on the too much side of things. It's just gotten really cutesy. I miss the animes where things would end with a kiss. Hoshizora I Kakeru Hashi, A Bridge to the Starry Skies. Great romantic
Oh,
comedy for only 12 episodes.
that was a lovely one. That was
It ended in a kiss and I was just so happy. That's what I want is the culmination of events to lead into a romantic kiss under the stars or whatever, you know? I'm corny.
nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Uh, so would you say that um, that perhaps the effort that was going into the story went more into putting out something that looked nice?
Yes, by far. Granted, there are good ones that came out where the how to put it, where the art matched or where the storyline finally matched the art, much like what was that? 5 centimeters per second.
That's on my list.
My God, was it ever good? Ah, since it's on your list, I'm not gonna go into it.
Yep, but then it's like, what was it called? Yori.
Ayori Aoshi. I didn't
That's it.
watch that one actually. I really should have. I really honestly should have.
I'll hook you up later.
Please do. Um, be, I watch. I gave it. I judged a book by a cover by its cover on that one, and I'm really kicking myself for it. Um, but in comparison, we go from A Bridge to the Starry Skies, which was only like 12 episodes. It was something to nibble on between animes. We go from that to something like Love Hina, which was 2004, but and yes, it was a romantic comedy, but it capitalized on the female body and the advertisements for it even capitalized on that. But
Hey, it had a good Game Boy. It had a good Game Boy game though.
it did. Was it a dating sim?
Yeah, it was a Game Boy dating sim. Believe it or not, that didn't really focus that much on the female form.
Hey. So it came out. It ended up something like Tokimeki Memorial,
Yep,
which was another one that was right around 2006, something to that effect. That came out based off of a visual novel, Tokimeki Memorial Hour or One Love, showed up and gave us the beauty that we or gave me the beauty that could be found in romance without all the Fan service attachments. That one was actually a PS2 game, stretching into PS3. You can get Tokimeki Memorial, the Japanese import, for PS3 over Amazon if you guys were curious, or through various sources you can emulate it.
Yep. So would you say that the shorter 12 episode OVAs from the 2004 era were superior in any way to the full series?
Mm, how do you mean? Like
Well, I mean,
from a
like I've
romantic comedy point of view, or
yeah, from a romantic comedy point of view.
there's not very many romantic comedies that just go above 12 episodes or 12 or 13 episodes, but I think it depends on the anime personally. I will not rate one versus the other due to Sakuraso no Pet na Kanojo, Pet Girl of Sakuraso, and Shuffle being at 24 episodes, because those were both very, very, very well written animes
Yep, I
or
suppose it really
anime.
just depends. I suppose it really just depends on who you can afford to get on the team.
Yeah, Gonzo fucked up a lot.
Yep. Um.
Well,
Oh, so Tone asks what your opinion of the Oron High School Host Club was.
I watched it and I did enjoy it. I don't mind watching what is that? Otome?
I think you're
Oto?
thinking of
Otome?
Otome.
Yeah, Otome. I don't mind watching Otome. It's not a bad watch. I did enjoy it. The one time I watched it. So, Tone, to answer your question, I enjoyed it.
Uh, do you?
That there was a sorry, there was a later series that showed up right around now called Show Mean Sample, which was about the same as Oran High School Host Club, but rather poorly written. Um, what else am I looking for? Poorly written and short.
So
Same
it really didn't
concept.
have anything to offer.
Not really, not at all. I watched it, I got my couple of chuckles, and I moved on. That's pretty okay. Watching the anime that comes out closer to 2000 or past 2010, that's what you get. You watch it, you get your couple of chuckles, and you move on. And then you go back to one of the old series that you were watching or that you've already watched. That's the long and short of romantic comedy.
Do you think there's any hope for it to come back?
It all depends on the writers. I mean, at this point, they're puking anime up. Japan's just puking anime up just to keep its fans satiated or sated.
Okay, so if you could put together a team to make a romantic comedy anime, who would you pick, assuming that budget wasn't an issue?
Uh, I would want it put out by Kadokawa. They put out really good anime. I don't particularly know who wrote Shuffle, but I would want the visual. Oh, I think it says on here. The people who wrote this, the people who wrote Shuffle, I would love to. I would love for them to write something else and work and continue to work with Kadokawa for the animation. But the artist, that's difficult. I don't know what artist I would pick for it. Mm, Takashi Obata, the creator of Death Note. I like his serious style. I know he does action. Don't chew my ass for the comments, but I like the way that his serious style goes, or that the way he puts his style out there. It's completely serious, and I feel like he would do pretty damn well. No, actually, not Takashi Obata. The artist for Dengeki Daisy, honestly. Dengeki Daisy does not have an anime adaptation. It's strictly a manga, but it is a very good read, and the art style is fantastic. I want the artist for Dengeki Daisy to team up with Kadokawa and the writers and the people who wrote Shuffle and put out an anime. I feel like that would be good. I feel like it'd be fantastic.
And that would be your ideal rom com.
Oh yes, definitely.
Why don't we talk about right now what people are considering the definitive rom com of the modern era? My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu.
Oh Christ. That was good. That was good. I liked watching that. I really did, but it being the definitive um repeat what you said.
Definitive romantic comedy of the modern era.
Thank you. The definitive romantic comedy of the modern era. I don't think I would go so far as to say that much. There really hasn't been that many definitive animes for me. Com- uh to just set the standard for the modern era of anime. Though if I were to pick one, Snafu would not be it. I'd probably pick something like shit. Saikano. Then again, it's all blending together for me nowadays.
Oh, there goes the dog. Okay. I'm good. Okay, they're done. So,
The modern era is blending together for me. I mean, I've seen 250. I've watched 250 plus, dude. It's starting to blend.
dude, why aren't you doing an anime channel?
Precisely because I've seen 250 plus, I'd have to write out each and every anime that I've watched and cover it. And
Okay,
I
fair
don't know if I
enough.
want to be known as the anime guy on YouTube either. At this point, I don't know what kind of persona I want to put out there for YouTube.
Well, why don't you put yourself out there first and see what evolves from it?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see where that goes. I mean, I'd have to try my first anime review and see how it pans out.
Yeah. Uh, okay, well, so in conclusion, what would you say? What would you say for as your like final statement for as far as the evolution of rom coms has been?
We need a renaissance. We need to go. Romantic comedy needs to go back to about 2000 to 2010. Take a couple of pages out of those books and apply the art style. That is what needs to happen. That is my conclusion based off of what I've seen now versus what I've seen in 2005. Based off of my collection here.
All right. Why don't
Moving
we?
on.
Yeah, why don't we move on to my subject?
Please do. I don't know why you covered mine first.
Well, mostly because while my notes are focusing mainly on visual design, I can tell you a lot about the evolution of the writing style as well.
Now you know
Um,
a whole lot more about the mechanics myself, having a certificate straight from Japan. So I'm pretty much here to learn at this point.
well, what I did here was I picked mecha for my genre, and
Ooh.
I essentially covered its evolution all the way back to the 70s. I could have gone far as back. I could have gone further back, but I feel like the 70s would be long enough, and if I went any further, we'd be here all night. So let's start with the 70s. Starting with visual style, most mecha looked very much what you would call. Oh, what you holding up there, JT? Ah, okay.
Sorry,
Um,
I like that one. That's the only one I own. Please continue without my interruption.
uh, well, you see, back in the 70s, most mecha were what you would define as a super robot, where they were very loosely scientifically involved. Mostly just their idea was to look impressive on screen, which anime being something that was mostly marketed towards kids at the time. Visually impressive was more or less what all they needed. Um, but they mostly had a rounded off or almost humanoid design. As far as body type goes, their heads were
Okay.
outlandish. A lot of their
Throw
heads
me
were
an example.
outlandish. Well, throwing you an example, Astro Changer looked very humanoid.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
I actually understand that reference. Cool.
yep. And then you've got stuff like Brave Riding, which had more or less humanoid proportions anyway, even though they had some angles thrown in there. And
Wait,
then
Brave Writing?
yeah.
My buddy Orion has that on DVD sitting at his house right now. We tried to watch it, but he couldn't get into it, so he kind of just turned it off, and now it sits in his closet collecting dust. I thought it wasn't half bad for an old anime.
Oh well, ask him if he's done with it. I might ask you to send it my way, because I would love to own that on DVD. Um,
He's only got like the first 4 episodes. Continue on. Sorry.
and then as far as like the really rounded off ones go, you've got stuff like Getter Robo, which is a classic. Fighting dinosaurs with Getter rays. I never get tired of it. Uh, and then another classic, Guy King, which both Getter Robo and Guy King have gotten updates and reboots. Uh, Guy King again, very much Guy. These both very much super robots. Guy King being called the head of the Iron Dragon or the Steel Dragon, and Getter Robo G was very much, well, as far as attitude goes, it was very much a fighting spirit esque Robo. So, and once you get into like the late 70s, they started experimenting with much more dynamic and angular designs. Like
Much like Mobile Suit Gundam.
exactly, that's one of my examples actually, Mobile Suit Gundam, and you also got Zambot and Gakin.
Now, what would your favorite, or what, how to put it? Not favorite. Okay. What would you consider the top design out of the Gundam series?
As far as design goes, well, for like if we're going for favorite versus the one I think was the most interesting, um, I'm always going to be a super robot guy, and I love it when you've got a mech that can but open its armor to reveal more detail and unleash power. So I'd have to say, and the Gundam community is going to just laugh me out of the community for this one, but G Gundam.
Oh, okay, okay. In terms of design, I will agree with you, but please, G Gundam, not that.
I acknowledge that is more or less just it doesn't fit.
Taboo.
Yeah, I know I probably stepped on a landmine there. So we're gonna move on very quickly as far as like what I think was the most interesting design. I would have to say Turn A Gundam had the most interesting design.
No, I will agree with you there. He looked really pretty. I
Ab-
shouldn't say pretty. Actually, he was probably the most, I feel one of the most intricate designed ones.
Gave cockpit a whole new meaning.
I Moving on. I'd
Moving
bite my
on.
tongue.
Uh, um, so yeah, they were experimenting with more dynamic designs. We would get stuff that felt more alive, ironically, for it being a robot. And what's interesting is like that actually carried over for a few years into the 80s, the kind of simplistic but dynamic design they were going for, where you had shows like Ideon or Dogram or Votoms.
I'm sorry, you lost me. Um, like
Okay,
mecha's your subject.
okay. How do I describe Space Runaway Ideon? Um, you know the GMs from Gundam?
Yeah, yeah.
He looks like that, but he's way larger,
Oh shit.
and he's kind of a long antenna. He's kind of a universe buster, according to some. Then you've got uh, stuff like Dogram and Votoms. I believe, if I remember correctly, Votoms was actually a sequel to Dogram, and Votoms has been around uh, quite a while. It had several different seasons released, and while they didn't sell as many model kits as Gundam did, it's very memorable. It's a huge favorite among fans. It took an interesting spin on the whole mecha thing, where rather than you're sitting in a cockpit, the head is above you, and you're like looking through the camera, or you're sitting in the head itself. The Votoms were closer to suits, in which your head was in the robot's head, and then the controls were all in the torso.
That makes a little more sense, I feel.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I felt too. Um, by the mid 80s, these very dynamic designs, while they did stay around, started getting way more detailed because, animation budgets were going up, material prices were going down a little bit, and it was easier to make better looking stuff. So you had stuff like Dan Kuga, which was a combining robot. Then you had like Galvion, Zeta Gundam, where they were.
Galvion.
Yes, Galvion. It was kind of a transforming robo turned into a race car. Almost looked like in my opinion, it kind of reminded me of the Mach 5 from Speed Racer.
Okay. No, that's I know that one. My Uncle Floyd was like he gave me the whole collection because he didn't want to look at it anymore. I looked at him and was like, "This was from your childhood." He said, "Fuck my childhood." I was like, "Okay, thank you."
Uh,
Sorry.
well, yeah, but that was like the mid 80s. By the late 80s, very streamlined body types, which did exist in the mid 80s, really started gaining some momentum among fans. You had stuff like Double Z Gundam, and Macross was really gaining steam at this point.
Oh, I've heard of Macross. Okay. It's
Some like American dub fans will call it Robotech.
no, I've heard of both then. Robotech you see sitting in in the bookshelves in the exchange all the time. Like you always see fucking Robotech. It's because people buy it, watch it, and trade it in, and that's all they get. They watch it once and get rid of it. Yeah, I see your eye twitching over there. At least that's what happens in Ohio.
Yeah. Now, actually, fun fact.
And
Speaking of Macross, uh,
mhm.
I don't know how much you know about Transformers, but the original design for Jetfire was actually uh, the mold for his toy, which I think came out before the character, was literally a Valkyrie from Macross. Hasbro licensed the mold from Bandai, but then things started getting kind of sketchy when it was time for Jetfire to appear on TV.
Oh,
Yeah,
because of
Bandai
the
was
same
like,
molding.
well, it's not so much the mold that was their issue, because at that time, Macross was still more or less in Japan, but Robotech was starting to come out. And, well, you have two shows with the same robot produced by two different companies.
How the hell are you going to explain that a character from a mech from Robotech somehow magically became, oh, what the fuck was that?
A Transformer.
Yes. Which Transformer though?
Jetfire.
Oh, Jetfire, thank you. Wow, all the this is, I told you, man. I was paying attention, it's just I mixed up the fucking names.
It's cool.
I'm sure you look kind of disappointed.
All right,
Uh,
but
how are you going to explain to your fans that one character somehow magically became another? I'll just leave it at that.
it happened more than once with the same, and it was all with Macross.
Oh, Jesus.
Whirl.
Are we talking recycled molding or?
Molding and robot design.
Oh,
As a
I
matter of
feel like
fact, if you
that's.
buy a Generations Whirl toy today, they
Mhm.
have what they call a heloped mode, which is literally a Gerwalk helicopter.
Minus all the transforming parts. Okay.
Uh, oh, Kenman's
That's
saying
why you.
he'll be ready in like 10 to 30 minutes. Well, give us a little bit. We'll get through this thing, and then you can hop on, okay? Anyway, so you were saying, JT?
I forgot. Oh, that's you never have that problem with rom-coms. You only have the problem of recycled character tropes.
Yep. And actually, now Hasbro gets cheeky with it because they like to sneak in the Gerwalk mode. If they don't outright just give it that mode and give it a different name, they will keep the transformation in just the right way that a Gerwalk mode is achievable.
I'm sorry. I'm reading some of Tone's comments.
Yeah.
Jiggle physics.
Jiggle physics. Um, but so yeah, that was a point of contention for a while, and it still is today, because whenever they try to release a Generations or a Classics figure of Jetfire or Whirl, they have to really be careful. But they uh, because while they have to keep it as close to the original character, toy and or screen accurate character as possible, they cannot step over a certain line.
That certain line being adding a hood scoop where there shouldn't be.
More like there's sort of an unspoken agreement between Hasbro and Bandai about this, where as long as there is no Gerwalk mode and the face is distinct from what uh, the Valkyries are, then they can count it as their own character and market it.
Okay.
However, again, Hasbro gets cheeky because Jetfire always comes with a mask that makes him look like a Valkyrie.
Hasbro's looking at a lawsuit.
They haven't gotten one in a while.
They're looking down the barrel of a gun at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I might not know what goes on between or with Hasbro, but I do know legal stipulations. I have to know that considering the line of business I used to be in.
Uh, yeah, so it's a very interesting kind of thing, and what's
Not
interesting as
that
well.
I, but the people I used to talk to, that line of business. Please continue.
Anyway, so what's interesting now is that now whenever people who are both Transformers fans and Macross fans buy a Whirl or a Jetfire, a little piece of them really wants there to be uh them to somehow connect the universes. Like I've heard stories of people buying Valkyrie figures off of HobbyLink Japan and then going onto ReproLabels.com and getting an Autobot sticker to stick on its chest.
Oh. That's cheap.
Not if you've seen the price of Valkyrie figures.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. Oh Lord.
Uh,
Wait, Tone, what are you flipping out about?
you mentioned jiggle physics.
Oh. You didn't trust me. You don't know me. You're his fangirl. Don't you dare say you trusted me. You have no love for me. I'm just his +1.
All right, so I'm gonna add Kenny in, and I'm gonna keep going. So let's
Keep on trucking.
yep.
Keep on trucking.
So okay, so he'll be on, I guess, for a bit. Anyway, as I was saying, Macross and Dragonar were starting to really that hyper detailed look, which
Oh,
eventually tumbled over into the
hello.
90s. Hello, tumbled over into the 90s. Sorry to keep. I got to keep going because I'm on a train of thought here, and if I stop, it's gone. Uh, and then by the 90s, design styles started branching out in all directions. You started getting some really outlandish designs from, okay, this is kind of niche. Very few people have probably heard of it, and those who do are probably like the elite of the mecha community. Samurai Pizza Cats.
What?
Samurai Pizza Cats.
Yeah, no, that ain't me.
Samurai.
Yeah, it was a show about robot cats in the future. It was very much Doraemon. And yeah, Turn A Gundam had come out at this point as well. And then you got Transformers Beast Wars Neo, where it was like almost a sequel to the Beast Wars originally, where it was, you know, you've probably at least seen some footage of Beast Wars around somewhere. It was that computer animated Transformers series where they transformed into animals and whatnot.
Yeah, I thought it was a Zoids knockoff.
I like
I
Beast
could
Wars.
understand that.
It was based off of some. It was from a studio who was popular for some other show. I don't remember what it was.
Anyway, so Beast Wars Neo came out. They scrapped the 3-dimensional shtick and went for more 2-dimensional. And while we did have Optimus Primal in Beast Wars Neo, we got Leo or Lio Convoy, depending on how you want to pronounce it, who looked much more like Optimus Prime than Optimus Primal did.
Okay.
And I think, that was for the best. Because, well, yes, Optimus Primal, he was a gorilla, kind of cool, very bulky. But I don't know. The moment he went to Optimal Optimus, I was like, nah. And then I feel like this all set a design standard for all the mecha we see today.
How so? I haven't seen Primal, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. That's why I'm asking.
I I guess how do I put it? Okay, do both of you know the term real type robots or real robots versus super robots?
Mm,
Not
no.
really, no.
Well, okay, let me see if I can give you an example. The majority of Gundam is a real robot show.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then Voltron is a super robot.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you definitely started seeing more real robo shows, but I feel like many of them still held on to the super robot roots of mecha anime.
Hmm.
The problem being is that, especially now, it is really dangerous to produce a mecha anime.
Why?
Mm,
Because most anime fans hate it now for some reason.
No.
Okay, that's the kind of thing I've been noticing.
It's not because they hate it. It's, well, more or less they're judging it based off of modern mecha.
Oh,
The thing is like mecha is a very specifically funded kind of genre where if you're not producing toys that sell, or you're not creating something that's well established already, like Gundam or Macross, then what you're doing essentially is taking a huge risk. And so a lot of studios, they can't bomb because a lot of people invest in these shows. So they go for the safe route and put boobs in it.
okay.
Aquarion.
Yes. And
Evangelion?
Not so much.
Okay.
not so much.
No, Aquarion, Aquarion Evil, and that last Aquarion series that everybody just forgets about really capitalized on that.
And I did enjoy Gurren Lagann. I have to admit, there was a lot of boob in that.
Yeah. I didn't. I attempted to watch Gurren Lagann. I just couldn't get into it. I found it to be a mecha knockoff of Space Battleship Yamato's plot.
Actually, it was what you would call a serious parody of several different mecha that came before it, copying over elements such as the face torso from Gai King, the giant battleship from Space Battleship Yamato, the giant universe-busting scale of things. It was very much a serious parody.
Mm-hmm.
But again, because it was so afraid to fail, it had to appeal to fan service. It more or less, instead of focusing on a story, there was a good story there as a popcorn material story, but that's kind of how they marketed it. It was popcorn material. You weren't supposed to analyze it too deeply. You were basically supposed to turn your brain off and then binge it, which we did as we watched, as me and my friends watched it.
They kind of lost me when Simone got a finger in the ass.
Well, Kill la Kill.
Okay.
That's
Kill la Kill essentially is Gurren Lagann.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same animation and writing group.
Yeah.
They left Gainax to form Trigger, and because Gainax wouldn't sell them the rights to Gurren Lagann, they were like, "Well, you won't give us the rights to our most successful franchise? Screw you. We'll make it again."
Yeah. Well, the thing is, that studio has been known to mix really silly adult humor with serious story. You know what I mean? Really silly adult humor with a serious storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're responsible for a Kamen Rider series that ended up being highly acclaimed, even though it was extremely ridiculous.
Yep. But that's more or less kind of why you don't get so many good mecha anymore. Most of it is, and why I think it has affected the mecha community. And a lot of mecha fans are upset about it. Some of them are really excited to see the new Gundam series come out every year, like Iron Blooded Orphans or Thunderbolt.
I want Zoids back.
I want Zoids back.
I'm glad we can agree on that.
Yeah, that makes 3 of us.
But if producers are too afraid to take the risk of creating a show that doesn't sell well, then they're not going to produce a good show. They're just going to produce something that gets numbers.
Right.
Now that depends. Okay, wanting Zoids back, it depends on the series you're looking at.
The original.
Century Zero.
Chaotic Century.
I don't know the difference. I can just say the one from 2002 and 2003. It's been that long.
I think that was Century Zero.
Okay. The good one?
I believe so.
Okay.
But yeah,
I remember
so
watching New Century. That's the one I remember. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
So as far as mecha anime goes, while I do like, I really hate to admit this, but I feel like it's really close to the point where studios just won't fund a mecha anime anymore, because the mecha fan base has more or less agreed that story writing has gone downhill because they're afraid to take risks, and as such, they're never really going to produce something on par as anything we had previous to 2005.
I'll go out on a limb and say previous to 2010, just to give it.
What was 2010? Evangelion?
I believe. Let me look that up.
They had a remake in 2010, right?
Oh, it was a remake. Okay.
Or was it a sequel?
When did it
I
first
don't know.
come out?
I remember seeing it
It was
on
2007. Wait.
I remember seeing it on Adult Swim.
So did I.
When I was in 2nd grade.
Oh wow, it's that old.
Oh, that's the movie.
There was a 90s Evangelion, I believe. Or it was 90s or early 2000s.
Wow, well, the mech does look ahead of its time of being created.
1996 is when it ended.
Oh, wow.
The reboot started in 2003 by WOWOW.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, Wow rebooted it in 2003.
And I didn't care for Evangelion. Some people are going to support me. Some people are going to shoot me. The opinions on Evangelion are split down the middle. But you know, it's another Gainax film. And yes, Tona, I started watching Knights of Sidonia, the Netflix remake. I have not gone back and watched the original. I may do that sooner or later. Anyway, so I think mecha is more or less reaching the end of its rope, but that doesn't mean that mecha is going to go away. It just means it's going to stop getting made. We will always have the other stuff to go back to.
That, or it's going to be like not as heavily capitalized on. You'll have like mechs, but not pilotable mechs.
More remote controlled stuff like what did they call it?
What series?
Well, Johnny Sacco and his flying robot, and
Nope, not me. Nope.
Was that an old one?
that was an older one, but it got like an anime release in the 90s or something.
Oh.
Anyway, but yes, like Johnny Sakura.
Was it originally a manga or a toku?
It was originally a toku,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about then.
but it did get an anime. So yeah, I could see them not being piloted or even remote controlled.
Mhm.
Actually,
Probably
heroic,
something with an AI.
So they
Yep,
might
or
do
something
something
like-
like Kakaider then? Is that what you're saying? They'll do something like Kakaider where it's an android, but like giant?
maybe. I mean, like Cyborg 009 is getting a reboot on Netflix.
Okay, I heard about that.
But what I'm thinking is like also Heroic Age.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, is that a mecha? Cyborg 009?
Yes. No,
Oh.
no, it's not. It's not. No, I lost track of the conversation.
That's say.
Um,
'Cause I know it's
well,
the
if you
Shakira
count-
Ishinomori work. I know that much.
yeah. I mean, if you count Astro Boy as mecha, then it's mecha. But if you don't, then it's not.
I guess I could count Astro Boy as mecha. I mean, he is a robot.
Anyway, that's about all I have to really say about.
Shall I?
Part of Mecha.
Yep.
Have you guys talked about Space Battleship Yamato yet?
No, I didn't focus too heavily on that, mostly because I haven't watched Space Battleship Yamato.
Okay, well, I have. Can I bring that up?
Yeah, real quick before we switch over to your genre.
Okay. All right, are we going to science fiction now?
Yeah, I guess mecha to,
Okay.
to general sci-fi would be a great transition.
All right, let me do that. Let me get my links up. Open. Right. I have a list of science fiction. I'm mostly going to focus on what I've seen, but I have a list to bring up. Anyways, Kamen Rider W here. I will be talking about science fiction anime. I'm going to start off with Space Battleship Yamato. It was also, let me pull it up. Okay. Space Battleship Yamato was a 1974 anime created by, I'm trying to pronounce his name, Leiji Matsumoto. It was one of the longest running anime series. It started in 1978 and officially ended in 2009, and then it had a live action film in 2010 and a reboot in 2012. This series, the best way I can describe it is anime Star Trek. Do you mind if I tell the plot?
Quick synopsis.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
All right. Yeah, in the year, basically, a basic synopsis is in the year 21999, an alien race known as the Gamillions have dropped moon bombs on Earth, polluting it and turning it into a radioactive fallout zone. And humanity has moved underground, building cities to can sustain air that they can breathe. And they built space battleships to fight the Gamillions with. But after 5 years of not being able to do anything to them, they were lucky to have had a contact from a planet called Isendar with this dead lady in it, and it had a map that led to the planet that had that was pretty much able to sustain life and had a cure to fix Earth. And the show is about the rest of the anime is about the voyage of the crew of the Yamato and their quest for Isendar to seek a cure to that's pretty much it. And they come across characters from other seasons made by Leiji Matsumoto, also like Captain Harlock, the space pirate. And what's weird is Leiji Matsumoto has created several variations of his characters, like Susumu Kodai, who's the main character in Yamato. If you've seen Galaxy Train, you literally see Kodai in there with a different name. That's pretty much it. It's the same animated character. Some could even argue Captain Harlock is Kodai with the eye patch and a stitch across his face.
Okay. So let's
He tends
actually
to reuse.
is a
He
that's
tends to
actually a very
reuse characters. Sorry. I was trying to
that's actually a very good example for early on sci-fi anime. So wait, was that the 70s that Yamato came out?
70s. Yes, 74.
And then Harlock was just a few years later.
It was a spin-off, and then Galaxy Train was a alternate universe type thing, where instead of the Yamato, it was a Galaxy Train. It was the same plot.
Okay. So what about the 80s? What would you say the best sci-fi anime of the 80s were?
Ghost in the Shell. Oh no, that was a 90s anime. Never mind. 80s. I would have to say Akira. I've seen Akira a while ago. I liked that one. That was the. I'm gonna pull up Wikipedia on it because my memory of it is quite cloudy. But I wanted to use that as an example.
Akira is a very good example for the 80s.
Yes. Akira.
While you're looking that up, why don't we just bounce around some of the sci-fi anime pre-2000 that we've seen between me and JT?
That'd be zero.
For me, it was Cowboy Bebop. Was pretty good.
Oh wait, then I lied. I did watch Cowboy Bebop. Oh, and would you count Trigun?
Yeah, I guess you would count Trigun too because it does take place on a desert planet. It kind of blends the whole cowboy and sci-fi theme.
Yeah, no, with their whole storyline based around plants and whatnot.
You guys can talk about Akira.
Technically, sorry, go ahead.
I said you guys can. Whoever knows the best about, knows more about Akira, can talk about it. It's been a while since I've watched it. I'm gonna do Ghost in the Shell.
Was Ghost in the Shell 80s?
No, it was 90s. When we get to the 90s, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, well, as far as Akira goes, I don't have very many memories of it myself. I do remember that it made enough of an impact on the West to get sort of a joke made up, some fun made of it on South Park. You remember that episode with Cartman's binder?
Yes.
I don't.
I do. Oh my god. I didn't realize.
Hey, nice trapper keeper.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I do know that it made that much of an impact. I definitely liked the mechanical design in that show. I mean, it's a very streamlined motorcycle. I remember seeing lots of pictures of that and really wanting one. Later on, when I saw Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, I actually looked at his dual runner and was like, where? That reminds me of the Akira pictures I've seen. Other 80s sci-fi anime that I can think of, well, most of them ended up being mecha, I think.
Yeah, I would think so. That was very popular in the 80s.
Yeah, that was at the height of its prime. So you've got a few space travel anime out there.
What was that? Tenchi Muyo?
I think so.
Or did that come out later?
And there was it was a big time for space odysseys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where, it's like the weekly thing. Kids would wake up on Saturday, run downstairs, in their pajamas, grab a bowl of cereal and flick on their favorite. Well, back then they called it Japanimation. And, jeez. Saturday morning cartoons. I'm sorry,
I should probably say to our viewer, I apologize for what I said earlier. I was only poking fun. I'll watch out next time.
I think she's more or less poking fun at you too.
Fair enough. I was like, ouch, and crash. Never mind. I won't even say it.
Sorry about
It's
that.
just kind of like, ouch. Okay.
But yeah, I would have to say, man, I swear I knew more sci-fi stuff from the 80s than is coming to mind.
Well, look, you did. It was mostly mecha, to be honest.
Yeah, I burned through most of the mecha series, so.
Yeah, most of the stuff that was sci-fi that came from the 80s was exactly that. It was mecha. It was gigantic robots. Kids would come down on Saturday morning and watch gigantic robots beat the shit out of each other.
Transformers.
Bingo.
I'm gonna go feed my dog. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, well, you're doing that. Yeah, Transformers. Was huge. I mean, it was a phenomenon, and it wasn't even an original show.
No. It was militant robots shooting at each other. What more could you want in a TV show?
On top of that, it's like none of the characters were original characters. The character personalities were original because they were pulling from shows or toy series in Japan that where the mechs were piloted. Like,
yeah,
Change Robo was a big one that they like to pull from. Diaclone being an extension of that. Then you've got stuff like, well, Macross. And what's interesting is, like, many fans of the Transformers in the 80s and Transformers today will, see that, and then they'll realize that, yeah, Transformers actually pulled from a bunch of different shows, and that makes them go out and seek out those shows.
I'm gonna hurry up and pop off with oh yeah, I don't know anything about you, Tone, and I really need to tread lightly knowing nothing about you. I'm gonna not pop off. I'm staying on live stream, but I do know a couple of sci-fi animes, but they are definitely not in that time zone. That'll be the ones that I'm talking about are going to be covered later by or the one that one of the ones that I just so happen to have in mind will be covered later on by Kenman when he gets back anyway. But I'll have a little. Hi, Kenman. I'll have a little more input on Ghost in the Shell when he decides he's going to pop off with that.
Yes, I am ready. I'm going to start with the basic summary of it. 29, technology has advanced so far that cyborgs are commonplace. In addition, human brains can direct the internet directly. Major Motoko Katsunagi is an officer in the Section 9, an elite secretive police division that deals with special operations, including counterterrorism and cybercrime. She is currently on the trail of the Puppet Master, a cyborg criminal who hacks into the brains of cyborgs in order to obtain information and commit other crimes.
Now,
Yeah.
this was definitely a product of the era when we thought the internet was just gonna change the world. You know, it was going to
Mhm.
be this huge thing that everything ran on, and we were fairly close.
We still are fairly close. Are you kidding?
Yeah. I don't want.
Yeah.
I know I'm not gonna be one of those people in Ghost in a Shell with computers attached to their head. I don't want that.
Mm-hmm. No.
I'm gonna
But
still be
it is
using an
interesting.
iPhone.
I would like to bring up another. I don't know if you would classify it as science fiction. I think I would, but Technolize.
Never heard of it.
Technolyze, something to that effect.
One
It's
other
pronounced
question:
Technolize. Yeah.
does Tron Uprising count as an anime in terms of the style?
Mm.
Well, it definitely
Who,
was
who made,
inspired, but
I'm not
it's
sure. That's
anime
why I'm asking.
inspired, not anime.
Okay.
yeah, it's like, well, it's like, can you count Ruby as an anime?
Okay. Well, I'm actually still in question of that, so I need some, and I'm still doing research to come up with my own opinion on it. So don't tell me a straight up answer yet.
So yeah, Ghost in the Shell. JT and I actually had some plans for the weekend dojo before you came along, Kenny.
Oh,
Yes. We still need to get, or we still he actually went and upgraded or bought a computer and tried to, bought components to a computer and tried to build it for this. I was planning on doing the same thing, but I'm too broke.
oh,
We wanted to live stream at some point Ghost in the Shell, First Assault on a Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, First Assault Online. Longest ass name in the history of video games.
ooh! If you can teach me how to get it from my computer, then yes, I would love and figure out how to get a screen share. Yes, I will do that.
Steam.
Okay, how much?
It's free to play on Steam.
Ooh, thank you. I'm
Now,
doing it.
understand?
Yes.
It's something like Overwatch where you are constantly shooting at other players.
First
There's no
person.
such, unless you, yeah, it's first person. There's
Awesome.
no such thing as there is no campaign, but however, you can go into like a training simulator kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, well, as far as we know, the open beta is still free. Did they release the full game yet?
I'm not sure. I can look up on that while I'm on Google.
Anyway, it's the experience I've had with it. It's an amazing game. It will eat up time. The
And
character
processing.
classes. Yep, the character classes. Well, we all know them from the anime. But they do really well with their powers. You get to use think tanks. Oh,
Oh,
Kenman, do you want to do me a favor and back off your camera a little bit so we can see more of you?
Sorry. Yep.
Thank you.
Is that? But
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
I've logged several hours in on it. I haven't played it in a while because it has this nasty habit of giving my computer the ability to fry eggs.
right.
Because I'm
It was
still running.
supposed to. Where was it?
It was supposed to.
It's supposed to show up sometime this year.
I may have to get it because, like, if you get the complete version, if you were on open beta, then you get certain privileges, right?
Yeah. It's an early access title. It showed up December 14th, 2015. Open beta on July 28th, 2016, which is right around when we got it.
Yep.
Where is it gonna go? There hasn't been an official release date for it, but it's supposed to be a a 2017 exclusive for both Xbox or for PS4 and Steam. I suggest getting it on PS4. Speaking of PS4, I still need to get your. I still need to add you.
All right, man. Well, we'll deal with that later.
Yeah,
It
I was just saying. Sorry.
it is actually, I bought. Okay, so people who watch my channel know that I review gamepads and gaming keypads, and I loved using my N52, my Belka Nostromo N52 keypad with First Assault Online. But recently, I got a new keypad. Well, not recently. I've had it for a few months, and I love it. I've been using the Logitech G13, which is
yeah.
much more comfortable in the hand.
I was gonna say you never did pop off with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still experimenting with it, and I'm still finding out new stuff about it. Not just from handling it, but from people's experience with it.
Is that the one that you're able to like save loadouts for games with?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, sorry to cut you off. Please continue.
So yeah, it's definitely the kind of game that will get you really interested in purchasing a keyboard for it, because it allows you to map your own controls and it takes direct input.
Really? Ooh.
Yep, JT understands what I'm talking about here. Quick little techie thing for those of you not so tech savvy in the audience. There are two methods of controller input for games: direct input and X input. Now, direct input is more or less just a universal thing. Essentially, it means that you could most controllers come equipped with it. Like this guy right here, which I'll be reviewing in the future, is direct input.
You just stuff it in the USB drive and go. That's all you got to worry about.
Yeah.
X input.
Actually, I have a question about that. For the Ghost in the Shell game, do you need a remote control that plugs in? Okay.
As long as you've got a keyboard and mouse, you should be fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just makes you want like a controller to personalize it to you.
Oh yeah.
Let's take Xbox controllers, which use X input, which is a format designed by Microsoft, which allows the game developers to more or less imagine, okay, they're going to be using this, so I know that layout. I'm going to map it to this, this, and this buttons, because those buttons always exist on an X input controller.
It's a cop-out.
It's a cop-out. Yeah, I love the ability to map my own controls, because I get to make the game more mine. I get to customize it to my play style, which makes me more comfortable, which allows me to play better.
Right, like you're able to tweak button configurations for first-person shooters, specifically with your Nostromo, not the piece of shit that I feel like is going to get bounced to my house here soon. But
the alien ship.
Yes, the alien hand. Yeah, the alien
Nostromo.
Nostromo. We're not talking.
Oh, not alien
no,
ship, but we're talking Ghost. But this I reviewed ages.
Why is it called the Nostromo?
It's a piece of shit.
This is the Nostromo N45. It has Rumble. I have no clue how to access it because I cannot find the proper drivers for it. I need to find a disc or something. It doesn't fit your hand, no matter how hard, no matter how you hold it. I'm sending it to JT because I want to see him flip his lid.
I don't want to. I'm trying to break my habit of cussing at my audience. You're just gonna ruin that.
They need a second opinion to know that this is never an okay piece of equipment to buy.
Looking at it on screen, it looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So much passion. Yeah.
Teach me how to get a screensaver share just to play these games that you guys are recommending.
What?
Anyway, so yeah, Ghost in the Shell First Assault Online
Okay.
allows you to map your own controls, and I'm so happy for that because I want more games to do that.
Yes. But with Xbox
Well,
dominating the market when it comes, or Xbox controllers dominating the market when it comes to PC gaming, we might not see much of that.
Yeah, because for the longest time, Xbox being owned by Microsoft, it was a controller you could just walk into GameStop, grab one up, and you could use it on your PC without having to hunt down drivers or a disc.
Hold that thought. I will be right back. I actually have to take my headphones off for this.
Okay. So yeah, the Xbox controller was the more available option for a long time. It still is the more available option for. I believe PlayStation 4 controllers also use X input. Do they? Don't they? They marketed the PS4 controller as being compatible with the PC right out of the box. I
don't know.
I feel like that means that they use X input. And I could see why they would be compatible. So here's JT. He's found something. No, he's grabbing his headphones. Oh, yeah, there he is. So, a rock candy controller.
Yeah, mostly for Xbox 360, but you can pick them up at one point in time. You could just pick them up in GameStop and then just plug them into your PC and go.
Exactly my point, and I think that's why X input. But we got way derailed. We were talking about Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, sorry. I just thought I'd bring that out and give people an example of just bullshit you could walk into GameStop and buy. Feels nice in the hand,
controller. Show it to me again.
But yeah, as far as Ghost in the Shell goes, that was definitely, I believe the Ghost in the Shell was one of the better sci-fi anime of the 90s.
I will agree with you there. Actually, I watched all of it on Toonami as it came out.
It was magical.
Yes.
Now,
and yeah,
I feel like I should put this topic in there because I have nothing when it comes to mecha or sci-fi except for a very select few, and Ghost in the Shell was just there. But I really want to get back onto Technolize.
Yeah, Technolize.
It's post-apocalyptic again, kind of, but it's a complete it's a show about based in a complete man-made city called Lux, where I don't know if this classifies as sci-fi honestly. I mean, it should, considering I just said man-made anime or man-made city, but the storyline revolves around a detective who is assaulting what was that? A company called Organo, who has been peddling out prosthetics to minors for use in gang wars. Essentially, the detective is following this case, trying to put an end to it all for, peace, justice, blah, 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 blah. But it's actually on the darker side of sci-fi anime. I think you guys would get a kick out of that.
Yeah, well, in about a minute or so, I gotta go.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Oh, I apologize. We hijacked your...
Yeah,
we hijacked you. I'm sorry, Ken.
It's fine.
Please, don't hold it against
some time. I spent on here. Hang up on. I spent the time I needed to, and thank you guys. I'll talk to you guys in a little while.
I appreciate it, Kenman. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yes, I always come on when I get the chance to, whether it's short or long.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. And thanks for giving us that insight. Sorry, go ahead, Chaz.
Okay. Yeah. How much you got to hop off now?
Yeah, I'm gonna hop off now. I'll talk to you guys later via Amino.
Okay, I'll talk to you later, man.
You'll have to find me.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Yep, I'm in your chat.
Okay.
No, he's
Anyway,
not. I don't have
we
him
had
on amino. I lost my amino. Anyway,
oh, there's still a group chat that we're all a part of. I don't think
no,
the.
I didn't log in with Facebook the last time I was on amino, and I uninstalled it and reinstalled it and logged in with Facebook, so I don't know how to log out.
Oh, then you know what probably happened is like it probably got buried, and he probably remembers it being there. I don't know.
It's the same fucking profile. It's just I'm not in that chat as that profile anymore.
Yep. Okay.
We'll take care of that.
Yep. Anyway, well, I figure since we're talking about sci-fi anime, let's move a little more into the modern era. Do you I'm not gonna say do you remember, but if you've seen a show called Speed Grapher, it has very
I
interesting
have.
commentary.
I have. I haven't seen much of it, but yeah, actually brought something in that I can actually somewhat comment on.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Now,
You first.
what interested me about it is that, okay, getting back to like you, I know we were trying to move away from hentai. I'm sorry, but I have to make this comparison. A lot of the times in hentai, as an excuse to get the sex scenes in there, they will say it's like, oh, this revolves around so and so, like it revolves around sex or reproduction somehow. Speed Grapher, the characters get superpowers based off of how unique their fetishes are.
Hey.
The dumbest, like, it's a dumb concept, but they pulled it off.
Much like most of their fans.
Don't bring Gene Simmons into this. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I couldn't resist.
Okay, but for example, a lot of men who view this, or anyone with like anyone with a penis, will attest to having a fear boner.
A fear boner?
A fear boner, where something really scares the shit out of you, and after the event is over, you need to slouch on your way home.
I've never. Okay, no, I lied. But that
Yeah.
was more for like exhibitionism. Not gonna get into that story though. Maybe off
Yeah.
of
Anyway,
after live feed.
yeah. Let's avoid personal stories in this because that could incriminate anyone. But the main character used to have a career as a war photographer.
Fear
And
boner. Okay, I get it.
yep, and a lot of his best shots were actually of people while they got shot. They were dying. So much that, well,
He's got a
and that
death fetish.
and that affected him for life. And eventually, he kind of gave up on being a war photographer, even though that was his best work, according to many of his fans. One thing leads to another. He gets mixed up in something, meets the goddess character, and she awakens what I guess his true fantasy is, and that is everything that he photographs becomes destroyed.
So his best work is he wants his best work destroyed?
No, were pictures of destruction.
Oh. Oh dear. Why is my laptop about to die? Oh, that's probably why. It wasn't plugged in all the way. What the shit? Okay.
That happens. So his fantasy was uh, essentially he wanted to cause destruction with his camera. That at least that's the best way I can. He wants
Okay,
everything he
no,
takes a
I get
picture.
that.
And it's okay. While it does have sexual overtones, the actual of the story very in depth. I can't believe we're coming back to this. It was sexual overtones, but good. We came full circle.
Why did we have to come full circle? I would have rather just came in a circle.
Put that away.
No, we've came full circle. I have all rights to make as many bad jokes as I want. No, I don't.
But it is a very interesting story because you have all these characters, and it really also kind of really kind of shines a light on the diversity of what humans find fascinating or attractive in the
Yeah.
weirdest ways.
Well, I
Like,
was hoping it didn't come to this, but next topic. I showed you this DVD earlier. Let's continue with Speed Grapher before I
yeah,
ruin.
yeah, long story short, great commentary on just the nature of humanity and complex complex thinking beings. I'm not going to
Complex
spoil
thinking.
it. Well, humans.
It's R34 in an anime.
Essentially, yeah. But it's almost artistic in a way. I'm not gonna go too in depth into it because I feel like age of 18, and I feel like I should say that because of the nature of the anime. If you're over the age of 18, I recommend you go watch it. If you're underage, I didn't recommend this, but you're going to watch it anyway, so keep your parents out of the room.
That's about what that. It's about what it is. If you're gonna watch anything with sexual overtones, just keep your parents out of the room, and it really gets awkward when you watch it with friends.
Yep. That's all I'm going to say on Speed Grapher.
I really didn't want it to come to this, but this technically classifies as science fiction with
Oh,
a
no.
lot of sexual overtones.
Oh, no.
You know what's coming, and I don't even want to show it on camera.
Okay, cover the worst of it.
There's really not much worst of it. It's just
Dears.
it had to be covered if we're going to talk about it like that. Okay? I
It's
don't
one
know
of those
why.
shows. It's an ecchi dominant show.
Etchy dominant is an understatement, my friend. Um, if we're going to focus on sci-fi with sexual overtones, that would probably be the prime example. The only difference is it focuses on one fetish, and that's the master-slave relationship. Or master-slave relationship. She even refers to herself as a slave. um, I was a very, very perverted kid. I don't know why I
It
kept
was
this box set, but it was an impulse buy.
blame puberty.
Yeah, I'm going to blame puberty on that one. I didn't even watch it before I bought it. I just kind of bought it like, oh, okay. And I saw it in a book, in bookshelf format, much like you would see it in like in a movie case in the exchange, lined up like this, and I just
Ah,
kind of picked it out.
I miss the exchange, man.
great choices. Actually, they've got Golden Time up at the Exchange in Canton. I really want to go pick up for Blu-ray.
Oh,
Anyway,
Tone wants to mention Heaven's Lost Property.
Wow. I watched that one too. Tome, I think we're friends. Actually, I watched that one at the behest of my friend Orion.
All of Deers.
No, let's leave that
Okay.
one behind us.
Okay. Moving on.
I just wanted to cover that lightly because it's
Where do we
technically
go?
rom-com, sci-fi, and ecchi. We give a brief description, or we give brief thoughts on Heaven's Lost Property, like at the
Yep.
behest of Tome.
It was definitely one of those, like, I think it also kind of sheds a light on what
Fetishes?
not fetishes, just what
What
most
people are interested in.
Yep, and not to sound like an SJW here,
Oh, Lord.
but it definitely seems like a lot like Deers was the sexualization of a creature with very little in the way of an IQ.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely
And
geared at power jockey men who didn't have the ability to be power jockeys.
yeah, so that definitely, I think it's a little more telling about I think Japanese men than anything else.
Yeah. You notice how fast he accepted the whole slave thing in like 12 episodes? Anyway.
Yep. Anywho, aside from that, like the whole section, everything else around the main female lead was like hyper intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
again, it's still the same level of sexualization, but then these hyper intelligent ones were made out to be, well, they were either rivals that joined up,
Or bitches.
or they maintained the big bad. Yeah. And it always ends up in a harem, and I know every guy at some point or another, if they are straight, and some women who are, into women, have fantasized.
Fantasized about at least a three-way?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's how to put it. I'm not going to say it's every guy's dream anymore because that is just not true, but it's a common theme when you get on Pornhub, We'll just put it out there,
Yep.
not for jokes, okay? Not for jokes.
Yep.
But honestly, most pubescent males, not prepubescent, most pubescent males dream of a threesome. Let's move back to anime before I get too fucking deep into this.
Yep. Okay, so definitely ecchi. I think we've kind of hit on something interesting here, where it's like ecchi is more telling about culture.
Well, think about it. Most Japanese are really, really conservative about their sex life or lack thereof, honestly.
Yep. Again, that might be contributing to their declining birth rate. I mean, they acknowledge they've got a declining birth rate.
They just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Well, they
trying.
do
I guess
care,
they're
but they
trying to
don't.
introduce programs. I don't know, to get the birth rate, but I don't know. As a matter of fact, that's why you've got memes like the Virgin Killer sweater and the cat hole kitty lingerie.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, they were
The
designed to be a
keyhole
meme.
sweaters.
And keyhole sweaters. They were designed to be a meme.
Yeah.
I think it was just like to try to kind of get the population back up or whatever. Because unlike a lot of very high fashion stuff these days, where it is revealing clothing, but it's in the name of like artistic design. And, like there's these particular ones were specifically designed to be sexualized.
Yeah, they were supposed to be, to try to get the Japanese men back into real life women.
That backfired.
It
Look at the
ended
fan
up
art.
2D. Yeah, it ended up 2D again.
So
they're fighting
the
a
rule
losing
here.
battle.
They are. It's like there's nothing you can do for the 3D that cannot be just flattened.
Right. And then you've got us horny ass Americans taking visits out to Japan.
Yep. It's like when I was over in Japan. Funny story. I was there for my 18th birthday. Nothing is ever going to top that birthday. We were in Akihabara.
Oh, nice.
And you'll find all kinds of stores in Akiba. One of which I thought was just like a generic merchandise store. Like the first 2 floors were safe. I saw Kamen Rider head busts. I saw PSP games. I saw anime and manga. Then I got to floor 3. And it was hentai. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back downstairs and probably head next door. No, here's where it gets funny. Because, like, we weren't supposed to be buying illicit or explicit material while we were there. Despite some of us being over the age of 18. Yeah. Anywho, I went
my laptop
and
is straight gonna die. If I cut out, I apologize. I will just get on my phone.
okie doke. So as I was saying, I went back downstairs. However, one of the members of because they had us break up into groups of 3 so that we wouldn't get lost in Tokyo.
Fuck.
One of my friends, who we'll call him Juke for the sake of the innocent. This was a 6th floor building, and everything above floor 2 was porn. And so I decided to wait out. I decided to wait outside for him. It was raining. I'm like, oh, it can't take that long. He's a sensible guy. No, he spent half an hour searching through all 4 floors of explicit material in depth. And I actually shouted up at the windows of the store saying, there's nothing in there that you can't find on the internet.
Homeboy. You obviously don't know very much about porn.
Okay, so I
now
don't.
we're getting somewhere. Now it's charging.
So he came back out, and I was like, you didn't seriously buy anything, did you? And he's like, no, they let you read the books in the store.
Oh.
Like, you can't, it's not like there's a private viewing room or anything. It's just like you have to stand in front of the shelf that you took the book off of. You can read it all the way through and put it back.
Oh, he was committing all that to fucking memory.
Yep, and I was like, how do they have this store and a Club Sega right across the street?
Zoning laws, dude. Zoning laws. There's no such thing.
Yep.
Just a moment.
Um,
What's up, Frank?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
What's up with you?
I'm doing a live stream on anime.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I hear fucking that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. On the counter. The red one's empty. That one. Go ahead. We'll pick more up later.
Yep. Anyway,
Have
as
fun.
audience, as I was saying,
Boy.
I was just like,
That guy is the product of of a video that will be going up later on that Chaz and I made specifically for as a message for you fans, but we'll get into that later. You'll see.
Yep. But so as I was saying, Akiba, really diverse place. They, as far as like, viewing material is concerned, I guess you would call it, they are not shy. Literally the only thing that the friggin' committees require bookstores to do with explicit material is to just put a little piece of sellotape over the crease or the opening so that it cannot be opened by kids.
Oh, you got a message.
So I do. I apologize. I know more about this than a healthy, I know more about this than an upstanding citizen should.
It's a good thing I'm not an upstanding citizen.
And but so anyway, yeah, they are not shy. But as I was in Akiba, and that's just like how much they value creativity there. You'll have okay, there you are. You'll have they really value creativity there.
You said that like 3
the
times.
kind of people that show up there in the good old Electric City, they are of a kind that expects certain levels of. Okay, it's not like going to Ikebukuro where you have.
Hold on, please. I'm sorry, but the way your face froze up, it looked like you spent 2 hours in a porn store.
Okay. Anyway,
I didn't mean to. Yeah, that's why I'm just dying. Please continue.
it's like if you were to compare Akihabara to Ikebukuro, which we went to like the next week.
Yeah.
Akihabara is if you were to give a bunch of anime fans free reign to open stores and businesses and to roam around and purchasing whatever they want. It sounds like chaos, doesn't it?
I don't know. It does. It's like going to like Comic Head or something.
Then you've got Ikebukuro, which is a little more constrained. It's got it's more highbrow, I guess you could call it.
Okay. So it's pretty much like Ikebukuro's the white guy sipping wine in a top floor restaurant.
Well, to draw a comparison to Snafu, My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu.
Yeah.
You know the Fujoshi character in that?
Yeah.
She made a comment saying that Ikebukuro was like the banana and that Akihabara was the donut.
I was gonna say like, okay, that works. I was gonna try to liken Akihabara to like 4chan or something. And call that a close
And we'll say it's
comparison.
about we'll say it's about nutrients, okay? There's a minor in the audience.
Oh yeah. Wait, how old is this kid?
Don't
answer that on live. Don't answer that on live.
Yeah, don't answer that on live. To protect the innocent. She just, like shouted all caps, minor in the audience, thank you. We apologize. This got out of hand.
Out of
It's
hands.
funny though. It's funny.
Out of hand's a little bit of an understatement, dude. Is she
I believe
young enough
she
that I
is.
should be legitimately worried about what I say?
From what I understand, while she is no better. She is no better than you were when you were, I think, 16. I think that's when I met you.
Oh, it's not like I changed much.
More or less, that's the kind of the thing.
I don't want to hear nothing
Anywho.
about a minor if you're going to liken it to me when I was 16. Oh, Lord.
Okay, that makes it sound like an insult. I apologize, Tone.
Yeah, I apologize to her. I was bad. Dude, you're like, you're in trouble.
Yes, I am in trouble. Anyway.
Oh, so much trouble. Oh, Lord.
Ikebukuro.
Okay.
Ikebukuro. Damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's not like it looks in Durarara.
Okay. I didn't think it would be. That place, or the way they set it up and what, I'm not going to mispronounce it. I always do, so I'm not going to say it. How it looks in that
D3R.
specific anime. Yeah, D3R, we'll go with that. Um, it's always really, when they depict a city in an anime, it's always really exaggerated.
Yep.
Except for the case in... Sorry.
Go ahead.
Except for the case in the video game / anime release for Akiba's Trip. They actually stuck very, very, very close to the city.
They really did. I've seen footage, and I was spotting places I've been.
Yeah, I owned that game for PS Vita before a certain party. I gave my PS Vita to a certain party, who shall not be named.
Ugh. But yes, like Ikebukuro is like there were a lot of smaller buildings.
No, correction, Tone. He did not reveal your age on a live stream. He just likened your personality to mine when I was a teenager. When I was 16.
Because we were both 16 in high school, I think, and
yeah, when we met,
only a few months. Yeah, we're only a few months apart in age, if I think about it.
Yeah.
So. What I was saying is like there's not a lot of tall buildings in Ikebukuro. I mean, there are tall buildings, but the majority of what you're going in and out of are smaller buildings. I did not find a single Russian sushi place.
Oh, really? Oh,
Not
my fiance's beckoning to me to make her mac and cheese.
Oh.
Oh, no, she was asking if I was hungry. Personally, no, I am not. Are you hungry, sweetie? Oh, Lord. Oh, how am I going to do this while maintaining the live stream?
Tell you what, I'll keep it going for a little bit.
How about this? We do 2 today.
Okay.
Do we have time for that? Is that okay with you, Tone?
Tell you what I can do is I can stop the broadcast. This will be the same live stream when I come back on. And
okay.
What we can do then is we can hop back and we'll go brief intermission. For
brief
the viewer that is
sounds good.
Watching. For those that are watching, I would take this opportunity to refill on your snacks and drinks. We will. Justin will take care of his things. I'm gonna go take care of some things myself, and we will return.
All right, be right back, guys. Love you, viewer.